All right, so prior to Book 6, Chapter 15, Caesar was explaining the social structure of the Gallic people, and he also told in Book 4 about when he conquered the Britons, and here is a nice little image of Caesar on the Britannic coast. All right, so the passage is fairly short. Um, it goes something along the lines of Alterum genus est equitum. He cum est usus atque aliquod bellum incidit. Quod fere ante Caesaris adventum quotanis accidere solebat. Uti aut ipsi injurias inferent aut illatas propulserent. Omnes in bello versantur. Atque eorum ut quisque est genere copiisque amplissimus. Ita plurimus circum se ambactos clientesque abet. Anc unam gratiam potentiamque noverunt. So the translation for this passage is, again, fairly short, as the passage is short. Goes something along the lines of the other, or an alternative, class of is, in this case, and knights. So stringing this sentence together right here would be the other class is that of the knights. All right, so moving on to the next sentence. He is usually a word that tricks me out a little bit. It kind of means these, and putting this sentence together, not including the parentheses, is something along the lines of these when there is advantage in any war occurs. So incidit is occurs, and as the verb, it's very helpful in determining what's going on. And cum does not mean with in this case, it means when. So, and then bellum signifies the war. Now, moving on to the parenthesis part, this friend right there, it means which, quote, before the arrival of Caesar was generally accustomed to happen every year. So that's this first part here. And quotanis is something you should recognize. It's one of our vocab words. It means, every year. And as I stated before, quid or quod means which. Caesar is Caesar. Pretty obvious. Ante is before. Fere is like kind of weird in this case because usually you would think carry, or portet, I think the word is. But here it kind of means generally, because I'm fairly certain this is the adverb form. Might be wrong, but who knows. Moving on to the next part of the parentheses. Uti aut ipsi injurias inferent aut illatas propulserent. So, uti is as. So, as either is out. It's like either or is that word. And themselves were inflicting injuries or repelling those inflicted on them. So the sentence is a little weird because it kind of bounces around from verb direct object and then verb direct object, and this is kind of like a combined word that is fairly annoying to translate. But moving on to this little chunk right there, omnes in bello versantur. So, are all engaged in war. So that brings back the first part of the sentence, where there's advantage in any war occurs, they are all engaged in war. And they, in this case, is going to be the equitum, or the knights. Moving on, atque eorum ut quisque est genere copiisque amplissimus. So, and is going to be our atque in this instance. Of those in proportion, I believe that's this good old part. As is most distinguished by birth, genere copisque. Oh, that didn't work. And resources. So in this instance, amplissimus is a superlative, which is in showing like it's most distinguished, like it's very like high up. They're high in the social class. And then finishing off this sentence, ita plurimus circum se ambactos clientisque abet. So thus have the greatest number of slaves and dependents about them. So about them comes from circum, which is kind of around, like, you know, it's kind of a cognate. It's like a circle. Plurimus it's plentiful, like there's a lot around. Ambactos is a slave or a servant. Clientisque is like somebody who depends on you, and habet is to have. So, final sentence of this book is hanc unam gratiam potentiamque noverunt. So this sentence means roughly they know this one influence and power. So they know one like influence is unam gratiam, and I think potentiamque is power, and noverunt is to know. I apologize, I mixed that part up. And then just a light summary would be some along the lines of this. If you want to, you can pause it. I think that would work best. And to finish up, I got a nice little image for you. Right there. There's a nice meme. All right, goodbye.